Hi everyone, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Time for the daily video. We've got lots of good things to talk about. We've had some interesting movements today, and they give us some good setups coming into the rest of the week. So quickly, we can see U.S. markets are looking okay. Everything's in the positive. S&P, Dow, gold, oil, everything's up today, just a bit. As we can see that the big iPhone announcement is tomorrow, and some think that it's going to save the economy in the U.S. So that'll be interesting. I sent around an interesting article on that on Twitter today, so kind of a funny one. Anyways, back to the markets. Everything's in the positive. We did see some positive numbers for trade balance out of the U.S. today. We had 42. Negative 42 versus the 44.2 that was expected. But what we have coming up tomorrow is some more news. A little light on the U.S. news side of things, but this is going to be a big deal. The German Constitutional Court ruling is going to have some effect on the euro, so keep an eye on that. We don't know exactly what time that's going to be, so just kind of be really careful / aware of that. And then, of course, we have the claimant count out of the UK. It's a little bit of a mover. We don't have any significant news for the US session. And then we have interest rate announcements for New Zealand. And then ultimately coming up on Thursday, we have the FOMC statement, and that's where markets are going to probably go crazy. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But if things kind of go as expected and progress along nicely, for example, if the Fed does add some additional stimulus to the economy, we can expect further dollar weakness. Remember, we're at the end of summer. This is when markets start to break out. This is when trends start to happen, and we start to see some bigger, longer-term movements. So as we've come into into September already, the euro is actually up about 250 pips from the start of September till now. Now we're just shy of 2 weeks into it, so it's not necessarily a significant, huge movement, but this is the start of potentially a much larger trend. And so we're going to keep an eye on that and just see if the euro can make it all the way up to this 130 mark, and it's not far off at this point, and even potentially beyond. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But once again, if the Fed does take away this, or excuse me, add additional stimulus, then we can kind of count on this uptrend continuing through. Because again, at the end of summer, towards the end of, or all the way to the end of the year, we typically see a very steady trend. So September, October, November, December, we can see some fairly steady movements, and it looks like that could be to the upside. Now, again, this could all be changed very, very quickly if the Fed does not do any additional stimulus, any additional action. Then we could see a quick reversal, a sharp reversal, and get this euro all the way back down into the lows and beyond. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so all of that being the case, we saw some consolidation for about 2 days on the euro. Then it broke this little resistance right here, which is actually pretty significant level. It goes all the way back to this little tested area, and it comes here. We're coming into contact with the 200-day moving average, and that's going to be a bit of a challenge to really make some push through. But at this point, what I'm looking for is I want to see some retracement. You can see that we're a little ways up here, about 40 pips or so away from this main resistance, but I want to see some retracement back to this resistance, back into this general area. And again, we'll probably see this kind of trickle down during the Asian session, something slow, and then towards the UK Open, we could see a nice little spike down into this area and give us an opportunity to buy off this now support. But keep in mind that that with that German court ruling, that's going to be, that'll have some impact on the euro. So just kind of keep that in mind. But I'm looking, and you'll see a common theme across all of these pairs. I'm looking to see pullbacks to supports and or resistances, and bounces and trades off of there into back into the highs of the current day and beyond. Again, I think this euro's got a good chance of making its way up into the 129 and 130 area fairly easily. So we're going to look to buy off this 128, 20, 30 area and trade it up from there. pound dollar, very similar situation. The pound dollar's kind of got some slightly different support. We've had a break above and below, but there's been some testing at this area, this just above 160, and then on the very short term we had a nice little double top here. So I'm looking for this as well to be an entry point. Again, about 35 to 40 pips of retracement down in this area, and buy off of the dips back on up. So I'm looking to pick up some longs on the pound dollar down in the 160.30 area. I think we've got some nice support there, some converging trend lines and so on, and I think this should give us a nice little run back up into those highs. So that's what I'll be looking for as of current as well. Euro yen is turning out to be a choppy mess, and we're actually in this thing and we're sitting in some profit, and it's just kind of a slow little steady moving trade. Keep an eye on the euro yen. I think we've got a couple of opportunities here. It's coming into some pretty heavy consolidation from back here in June and part of July, and it's going to have a little bit of a hard time getting above that. But if we make a break above this area right here that has been tested to the pip practically several times, which is about 120. 100.22, 23, right in that general area. We can even safely call it 100.25. A break above that should send this euro yen quite a bit higher, which I still expect to happen. We had a very nice little trade back here, and we shorted it. We rode the pair down into support, and now it's heading right back up again. And again, above this 100.25, that should open the pair up for some much larger upside. We had a lot of consolidation. We had a nice run up, a lot of consolidation, nice run up, and we're going through some consolidation again, and we should see some runs higher. So just kind of keep that in mind. We've got a little bit of room to go before coming into contact with the 200-day moving average. There's just some space to go there. So look for a break above 100.25 to get long in the euro yen. Aussie dollar, same kind of situation. We've broken some short-term, as you can see here, some short-term support, or resistance. There we go. Some short-term resistance, which is right around the 10400 area, and now we're well above it, about 40 pips. You can see that everything's about 35 to 40 pips above, and you'll see a few examples of below as well. So again, I'm looking for some retracement opportunities. Any kind of reversal patterns up here will be great. We'll take that, and then we'll trade it back down to this 100 or 10400, and then look to get long in this general area right here as well. So there's going to be some good support and some good buying opportunities there. Gold is still kind of consolidated. We want to see a break above that 1738, and that should help the pair continue on. And then here's a pair that I don't much look at or trade really ever, but just trading kind of the exact opposite of the euro dollar. We see this 93 or 94.30, which is a very, very significant support over the last couple of months, and the dollar Swiss franc is officially below that by, surprise, surprise, about 40 pips. So again, look for some reversal opportunities to buy this pair back up into resistance, but most importantly, we're looking to get short once again as we get up towards this 94, 20, 30 area to trade the pair down. So we've got some really great opportunities to buy on some pullbacks and sell on some rallies, and I think we'll have some good opportunities there. So I'll have more details coming out on Twitter, but those are going to be the levels to watch for. Watch the market kind of get dragged back to those areas and then bounce and continue on with the trend. Remember, we're at the end of summer, and it's time for markets to start trending, most likely into the end of the year. And again, the only thing that will likely change that is the FOMC news is going to be the FOMC statement is going to be very, very important for the direction and kind of the duration of the trends that we have in the works. So keep that in mind. More details coming on Twitter, and I will see you guys in the chat.